This video is not another video about energy healing techniques. What it is about is how contact with the here and now and getting an inner authority on board with yourself can transform almost any energy healing technique into a living process of repair and renewal, rather than just performing a technique and hoping it works. Enjoy. Okay, so this is the teaching portion of the group distance healing, and I'm already starting the healing, and it should work for the people who've submitted their names, as well as if you're watching it later. So my intention is that the healing has begun. Okay, just kind of breathe that in and link up with it by just opening your heart to that possibility. All right, so now whether you're here live with me or you're watching this on the recording later, you don't have to do anything special. You can just listen, all right, for that healing to sink in. And now some people kind of come late to these things. They go, oh, she just talks for a while, and then the real healing starts after that part's done. And I would say that how we orient ourselves directly affects how energy therapies work. So yes, I like to talk and I like to teach, but it's really, my main motive is to get us on the same page or to resonate together. And even if we come from this information from wildly different perspectives, if we're all thinking similar thoughts, that is a type of resonance. So just you can sense that. You can sense the people that are listening to this video now and later, or before, if you're doing it later. And just notice that as I talk, there's more coherence starts happening, if you can tune into that. I tend to attract all sorts of people, but a lot of you are very intuitive, so you might be able to tune into that. All right, so I talk a lot about this inner gesture that we bring to healing. And when people struggle with energy healing, whether they're giving it, receiving it, participating in a group like this, it's rarely because the technique is wrong. Much more often it's because something underneath the technique hasn't been addressed. And I want to talk today about one of those underlying conditions, something that quietly determines whether healing becomes a living process or stays something that we're just trying to make happen, or we're evaluating, or we're just consuming like it's an object. It needs to have a relationship. All right, so what is this inner gesture? So when we're sick or scared or responsible for someone who is, something very understandable happens, and that's that we hand ourselves over to experts, to techniques, to healers, to doctors, to protocols, to belief systems. And this is limiting, but it's not really a weakness, it's a survival strategy, so I get it. But here's the part that most healing conversations skip, that once we outsource our inner authority, our participation in it collapses. And if we're not participating in it, it is less powerful, almost always. With all due respect to, praying for people that don't know you're praying for them, if you want to enhance energy healing, you participate. If you're an animal, they're already participating because they don't have the filters that we do. It's almost like they can't not participate in the here and now. So most people think they outsource to experts, to techniques, to belief systems, to protocols, because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to cure cancer. They don't know how to cool down a tumor. They don't know how to do what needs to be done. You know, it's kind of like, well, I'm not an expert. Why would I take responsibility for what's going on? Or they want to surrender to a higher power, feeling like this humility will somehow help the process. And that's not quite it. With all due respect to experts and higher powers, which I definitely respect, this inner gesture of avoiding responsibility for our contact with the here and now happens because we don't sense our inner authority to do so. I want to underline that word, authority. If you don't trust your own perception, then being told something like you're being responsible for your own healing or for this healing experience doesn't really land. So I'd like to recommend this inner gesture of inner authority. And I feel like it solves a lot of these problems. And I don't want you to comply with what I'm going to be doing in a few minutes as I lead the guided visualization. I don't want you to perform it. And I don't want you to do it correctly. I just want you to have contact with it. And it can be intermittent. You don't have to be perfect. It just has to be honest. And because if you comply, if you perform, if you do it correctly, that looks like you're actively doing something, but do you actually have contact with it? And so what do I mean by contact? It means you directly experience it. So even though we're doing a distance healing in this group, we will have our own experience of it. And I want to give you full and complete permission to count your experience of the guided visualization, your experience of me talking to you right now, as important data. You're taking it all in, or as much as you can be conscious of. And then you're just aware that you, with attention, with curiosity, with interest, you'll be aware of more. And when we have a fuller picture, we have more feedback. We can be more responsive because there's more to respond to. And then we are able to respond inwardly and consciously. We become responsible for the healing, able to respond to the healing. So, in our culture, most of us know how to believe or hope or use a technique. And that can actually bypass direct contact, what's happening inside your system, especially your somatic system. But it could also be your emotions, your thinking, your physical body. That's where my octave resonance healing approach comes in. It's like, what do you notice? What do you witness? Like, we're just sitting here listening to you. What is there to witness? There's infinite things to witness. All right? So this healing, I think that healing begins with this witnessing, at this quantum level of witnessing. And in the beginning, authority isn't doing anything. You're just noticing with curiosity and interest. You're not fixing, you're not correcting, you're not really even monitoring. Monitoring's almost a little too ego-based. You're just interested. And then, if you can do that, if you can do interest, if you can do inner authority, then you can be present. And you'll show up in a completely different way. All right? So, if you've ever wondered why a method stopped working or why you've tried everything and still feel connected, it may not be the technique. Could be, but it may not be. It may be that you needed to have permission from yourself, from your inner self, to stay in honest contact long enough for reorganization to occur. In yourself, if you're working on yourself, or if you're an energy therapist working on someone else. So I'd invite you right now is to locate where you have permission to be here in the here and now, and notice if Suzanne is giving you permission, or if you're going like, oh, that's right, I can do this. It's my experience. I can locate my sense of what's important in terms of the contact inside myself. All right? And my direct experience counts, and it actually multiplies and enhances. If I'm directly experiencing this healing session, not going through it by rote, that not only counts as data and like something to observe, that it actually makes you actually contact it, and it creates the mediation between worlds and the magic that we're all looking for. All right. So bring your self-awareness in. And if you're watching this later, so I'm going to break into the group distance healing now, and which I only post in the Spirit Gate Cancer Support Facebook group. And if you're watching this later, the same principle applies. Whatever practice you're doing, notice where you're relating to the process instead of trying to perform it. And hopefully that change alone, it's not that you have to believe anything else, you just locate yourself in your own self. Like your higher I am here now doing this. And you witness from this place inside yourself of, yeah, this is what I am perceiving, this is what is happening as I involve myself in this process. And that inner gesture, that inner stance is foundational to effective life and effective distance healing.